Am I on? Oh my gosh. You guys have no idea. You are amazing. Thank you for your patience. Your time is the most precious commodity, and I don't take it for granted. My dad worked for IBM for almost 30 years, and if for him being on time was 15 minutes early, and that was ingrained in me. And I anyway, thank you for your patience. I am just now entering the land of the living. For about, it's so funny, I keep saying because this eye infections, that's what's been going on with me. For about a week and a half, maybe it was an issue, but I was still able to record without too much problem. And eventually, God, got to a point where I'm like, I don't care how bad it is. Well, when it was really, really bad, I couldn't do anything. But there was a point where it was like, okay, I can put on my glasses, maybe, down a little bit, and you won't be able to completely see how bad my eyes are. And so I recorded a few videos like that, but I just watched them recently and I'm like, okay, why'd I do that? So it has been a while. It has been a 3-week process, and you don't know what you got till it's gone. Is that not the truth when it comes to health? Wow, that and finding the right meds. That's everything. Gotta find the right medication. Or not. If you don't need it, obviously you don't need to find it. So, all right, we breathing, Doug? Are you with me? My husband?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. Doug was getting frustrated because I was taking so long editing a video. We're trying this format because I haven't completely figured out how to just pull up videos at random. And so I pulled all these clips together. Why are you pointing at me?
Just look at the comments in a minute.
Look at the comments.
Yes.
I'm not in a zone where I can multitask yet, and my glasses are. Is there something you want to tell me about a comment? Don't roll your eyes at me. I hate it when he does that. I hate it when he does that. Honey, I really can't see that
Sam
one.
Short says, I've been dreaming of this live event my entire life. Obviously, they've missed the other ones.
Sam, is it that you said?
Sam Short.
Oh, thank you. I hope your life gets to a point where you can raise the bar a little bit. But it's so good to be here. I am grateful. We have a camera. I have a mic. We're still figuring out how to use it. Do we have video? Babe?
The man has sought you out.
No,
What?
you can hit pause.
I can hit pause. Where do I see pause?
On the screen.
Oh, on the screen. Okay. We're just going to jump right. No foreplay. No emotional foreplay for you. We're going to go straight into some Erica Kirk, and I apologize once again for being late. Doug, can you rewind this just to the very, very beginning? And let's do it. Here we go. Anytime now. Do I hit play? Oh.
You wanted control.
I did not want control. I did not want control. Hello, like the bear. I am going to try to read this. Okay. And Sham, okay, I've adored you since I saw Erica Kirk video. I have resonated 100%. Is empathy not everything right now? We have been through gaslighting and gaslighting and gaslighting, and we're still in it. But you know what? A lot of us are waking up. And collectively, there was a fuzzy, and collectively, we're waking up. And when that energy when we connect and rise together, it breaks the clouds and they can't tell us the sun ain't shining because it is. Even though, wait, I should have thought that through. They can't tell us it's raining because we can see the sun shining. Nailed it. Nailed it. All right. Let's do us some Erica. Oh, again, that's me. All right, here we go.
When and if the man has sought you out, when it's that type of guy, you will know and you'll be ready. You won't say, oh, I don't know about this.
When did it take you to fall in love with him?
That's the funny thing is it was so interesting because when we were sitting there, I fell in love with how brilliant he was to be able to articulate what he believed in. And then it just...
That's a low bar. Someone being able to articulate what they can believe in, my friends, that is a low bar. However, now that we know more about Ms. Erica Kirk, Dr. Kirk, which I agree with Candace. If you watch her, she said we should embrace it. We should embrace it because it's so ironic. It's so ironic. I really, genuinely, innately am adverse to going after women's looks, their dress. And I certainly, men or women, I don't, generally speaking, because Erica's the exception, as you know, if you know, call people stupid or dumb. I don't do that. I know some commentators get on here and they can just tear people up. I have to tell you, and you may have heard me say this before, I didn't wake up one day looking to go after a widow. It was the dating video, the one where they have the white background and they're telling their story, where, and it kind of cuts back and forth between them, where I thought, whoa, this is messed up. This is messed up, mostly because of the job interview thing. And then there were some other things. But so anyway, I revisited that subject, and the contradictions, of course, are epic because Erica Kirk, but she ain't too smart. So where I was going, if you're new here, I'm ADD off the charts. So again, I just lost my thought. Proving my point. And seen. And seen. For her to say that she was impressed that a man could simply communicate and share what he believes in, knowing how hard it is for her to do so, I can see why that would be impressive to her. Play.
Just continued to grow. And honestly, where like the depths of the love started was when we were playing basketball together at the gym, just shooting around together.
They immediately fell in love.
That video where he introduced you as his fiance, and the two of you were staring at each other.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show.
You're gonna have to do it again.
Introduce yourself.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show.
You're so handsome.
I'm engaged.
Okay. You guys have seen this. I'm sure you've seen this. For some reason, I saw this last week when I was pulling together some other video and had not seen this probably in months. And I think the first time I saw it, I was just like, yeah, that's on par for Erica. That's just the vibe she has, just being kind of choosing her demeanor in the moment. But now when I saw this last week, I got upset. I got really upset because there's a few things going on here. I'll plant these seeds of thought, which perhaps I should have done before I started. But there are these moments where she's a little bit passive aggressively saying, is that how you're going to start? A little bit of the control. Actually, control might be the theme. Because the overall arch of this, I'll just get to the spoiler, is that this is a power play. This is a power play. What she is doing is holding this hostage. That's what she's doing. And okay, back to the whole looks thing. I don't know if you've seen people that she's dated in the past. Even then, I'd put them on like a 7 or an 8, maybe a 6. If you saw Doug, you would understand, because that man is a 10. It's true. When Doug first walked into the room in college, we were both involved in an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ. Very Turning Point-esque. So this whole topic, very much on par, very much aligns and connects with certain aspects of my life that I would say I have grown through, experienced a lot of wounds through, grown through, pushed through, learned from. And we know, I know, I don't want to speak for you, that anything challenging I've been through, I don't always get to know this side of heaven what the lesson is. But when I do, and I share that, I learn I am far from alone. But when Doug walked in the room at this Campus Crusade for Christ meeting, he was this combination of Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, I just said Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen. You should have seen Doug's face. Charlie, it's Charlie Sheen. So it wasn't look at me. Don't reject me by not looking at me. Okay, even then, for some of you guys, you're like, Charlie Sheen? Really? Okay, this was the 80s, right? This is the late 80s, 88, 89, 80, 89. So Charlie Sheen was still pretty freaking cool. So he was a combination of Charlie Sheen and Johnny Depp, but not current Johnny Depp, 1989 Johnny Depp. If I had pictures, you'd get it. But Doug likes to stay a little incognito. So if you ever catch an image of him, then you've been blessed. You could deep dive in my Instagram, I guess. You could see that. So not that you don't know that. You're smart. That's why you're here. Okay. Charlie Kirk is many things. He's intelligent. Again, if you're new here, I didn't agree with 90%. But justice or lack thereof is a trigger for me. So this very much got my attention. That and the religious baggage, which also gives me insight. I see how I don't like saying this. I'm prolonging saying this. He when not overtly handsome. And the men that she dated before, like I said, whether they're 6, 7, 8s, I generally do not rank people. For the sake of this moment, 6, 7, 8s would put Charlie at maybe a 3. My opinion. So the first little flag for me was this overbearing, you're so handsome. Now, people can be incredibly attractive, even if they aren't overtly. I don't like this subject, so we're gonna move on. But you get me. Beauty queen saying to Charlie Kirk at this point in his life, "You're so handsome." It's just a little bit
Engaged.
We're engaged.
Would you like to
he said.
introduce yourself, or should I introduce you?
This is mortifying.
Oh, she's mortified. Really? Oh, look, that's Erica Kirk. That's on her Instagram. That is on her Instagram now. That is like 2012. And then there's that video. When did she do that? 13, 14? With a boyfriend.
Stay tuned for more action.
So let's go grab a mojito. We'll go grab a drink.
coming in here just like owning it. Like, I'm really attracted to it. Can I get your number? Like, yeah. How do you tell?
All right, don't miss that what he said he was attracted to was her walking in there and owning it. Owning it. Okay, maybe she would have. See, this is me looking for a little benefit of the doubt, trying to find. Maybe she became much more serious about her faith later. Oh, the battery's low on my laptop. That was the problem. That was the delay earlier, was the camera was dead. Doesn't do a lot of good to have a great camera if it's dead. All right, so what was I saying?
Giving her the benefit of the doubt.
That let's say she came into her faith later in life, which invoked a little more modesty in her demeanor. I don't buy that. I think we become more discerning, but regardless of what you spiritually evolve or just mature in general, whatever. I don't want to necessarily spiritualize it or reserve that to a certain, or delegate that. I can make the words to a certain religious mindset, but maybe she decided to rein it in a little bit, but you can't hide that for very long. I'm still feisty. I was feisty before. I am feisty now that I've evolved spiritually. Watch enough near-death experience videos. You'll get it. Okay. So he makes a comment here about her fingernails. I'm just going to tell you now so I don't have to stop it again. And that she would give good back scratches.
Hey, those nails are long too.
They're real.
They give like a mean back scratch.
28.
Hi.
So Erica, what are some of your favorite products from Rain Cosmetics?
I absolutely love Lifeguard Lover.
Competed in the 2012 Miss USA Pagan representing Arizona.
I know. I know. Doug's just looking at me. Pagan, Arizona. That clip didn't necessarily fit, other than to say any woman who can parade around a stage in front of the world in a bikini. This whole idea that she's doing this meek and mild act, it's absurd. But the AI put it as pagan, not pageant, pagan. And I'm here for it. I love it. Oh, where is it? I also love my Denial is My Happy Place mug. Was that subtle, Doug? Yeah. Denial is my happy place. It is the one product that we have. Well, actually, there's another that I want to introduce you to that says, change your thinking, change your world, which is actually part of the whole think, jazz hands. Think Happy Stuff logo. The full logo is change your thinking, change your world, think happy stuff. What? Oh, it's on my shirt. We couldn't do the camera in time to change your thinking, change your world. This is a new sweatshirt, you guys, and it has pockets. It has pockets. Pockets. If you know, you know. What?
And where do they go to find it?
And where do they go to find? Where do they go, Doug? Where do they go?
It'll be in the comments.
I don't know why I'm wearing these. These earbuds aren't picking up anything. I don't like things in my ears. But anyway, if you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So pagan, I just thought that was funny. All right, let's.
Real Bays thinks that Denial is Erica's happy place too.
Thank you, Real Bays. There's actually a ridiculous amount of things that Erica and I have in common. True. So, and I'll share those as we go along. one of which is coming into faith later in life and some performative nature in regard to that. So, okay. Although my tone might imply differently, I don't know that I've ever said that I am better than her. I mean, I am. but but there's also a lot of humility in this process because I recognize things. That being said, I've had enough therapy and self-awareness to not project all my stuff. I'm trying really hard not to cuss. All right, so back into this thing. I don't see the little play button anymore, honey.
It's on the picture.
Oh, no. Oh, because you made me big. All right. Maybe we should keep me big.
How would you like me to start?
Ugh, skin crawl. That was a power move.
All right,
That
we'll
was
try
a
it
control
again.
move. He's getting frustrated.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. Joining me is the most special guest, my fiance.
That was a really long pause.
See, she's a bit serious there.
You guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. We'll be here for hours, guys. Who's in control in that moment? Who is in control? This is the beginning of their episode of the Charlie Kirk podcast. Who is in control in this moment? She has all the power. All of it. This isn't overanalyzing. This is a fact. This is a fact. Were you pointing at me about something? No. Yeah, she's absolutely taking control in this moment. And then I think this is what really, what she does right here.
I'm sorry. We're going to be here for hours, you guys. I went to Israel. And what year was that?
What happens if I back
was
this up a
2000.
little bit? Am I going to lose it completely?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. Joining me is the most special guest, my fiance.
That was a really long pause. We're going to be here for hours, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to be here for hours, you guys. I went to Israel. And what year was that?
All right. What that tells you, what that tells us, that's how she resolves conflict. There's more to it than that. There's more to her than that. But she didn't hesitate. Look what she is using to manipulate him in that moment. She doesn't use her words. She doesn't say, all right, I'm sorry, I got it. I'll get it together. I'm focused and centered now. She's batting the eyes, and that tells us a lot. A lot. All right. Now, this is an interesting story I kept in here because Candace mentioned this and mentioned that Erica leaves something very significant out. This is the airport story where she sees him across the room in the airport. If you know what Erica left out, leave it in the comments. Go ahead and spoil the story. Seriously, I'm curious if anyone else put this together seeing this.
That was
2 years ago?
2018.
2018.
That was May of 2018.
And that was the embassy.
Opening. So I happened to be there in Israel too.
And so I was on a pilgrimage with my mom in Israel, and it was our
This
last
happened.
day, and we were standing in the ticket line. And I remember just trying to deal with pulling together all of the documents and stuff at the ticket counter. And I turned around and I saw someone who looked super familiar, but I've never talked to them or met them before. And I looked at him and I was like, turned over to my mom and I was like, he looks really familiar, and didn't say anything. And then came back home and got a message from Tyler.
What did she leave out? Candace was with him, right? Was this the time? Doug, without my glasses, it's hard for me to see comments, but isn't this the time where Candace is in the airport with him?
Yes. Several people.
Yes. Thank you, you guys. Yes. Yes. Erica doesn't approach, and I think it is because Candace is with him. Candace Owens just kind of said, it's interesting she doesn't mention I was there. I'm going so far as to say that is exactly why she did not approach Charlie Kirk, because Candace, as we know, has a BS detector. I really wanted to say it.
Bullshit.
All right. I think she would have gone. I absolutely think she would have gone up to Charlie Kirk if Candace Owens would not have been there. I absolutely believe that. And this whole line of coincidence is absurd. Now, Charlie and Candace never mentioned, I don't believe, that Erica and her mom were at the embassy event itself. If that's not correct, please comment. Some of y'all might know better than me, whatever. But I don't think she's ever been placed at the embassy opening event itself. When she returns home, she gets a call from Tyler. They had already met at the Trump rally, because apparently she was a Trump fan, so much so that, and she's from Arizona, so I can see this. So even though she was living in New York City, she went back to Arizona because Trump was doing his first rally, his first appearance ever in Arizona. Tyler organized that rally. She reached out to him and said, how can I help? I didn't download this clip, but at the memorial service, Tyler says, she reached out and she was Miss Arizona 2012. So of course, I put her behind the president. Two thoughts. One, not always the safest place to be. Butler. Two, my initial reaction was, here is this young, beautiful, intelligent woman, because enough information had been put out, about how smart she was. So I thought the blame in that narrative was all on the organization. And that was me projecting my experience, because in the land of Christendom, which was, I went to college at Western Kentucky University. We lived in Nashville, Tennessee. The misogyny was so thick and oppressive. So it was absolutely believable for me that a beautiful woman, and I do think she's beautiful. I don't know how much so if you cut her hair off, but, and then for her to put herself out there, intentionally or not. And his first reaction, which seemed incredibly sincere to me, that he thought he was doing something great by putting her behind the president. if you look at those clips, she doesn't necessarily seem that happy to be there. She seems kind of aggravated. Whatever. I haven't fully gotten to that part yet and won't unless for some reason it pops up. It is crazy what has been happening with information, videos I watch, and how little pieces come together, the contradictions or the overlaps. It's strange. On par with the fact that I haven't cracked open a Bible in years, but I've done deep dive into Bible college level classes, training. I know it. So I love it when I come off a little liberal and some ultra conservative person will come on and throw a verse at me and I'm like, I will Bible your ass into the ground if you want to do this. Let's do it. So, but Bible verses have come to mind. That being said, they tend to be ones that are universal truths that also apply in different faiths. And I think I know there is a common thing that binds us. And a lot of the religion and the structure of religion, its intent, in my belief, has been to divide. I think the powers that be don't want us to really know who we are, because back to the collective of compassion and empathy, when they're telling us it's raining, we connect, we rise, we can see through the clouds that it is sunny. That was in the beginning, if you're just now joining us. So where was I? Okay, I don't know. Let's just go on.
From who I had met at the Trump rally, and he was saying, hey, you should come to Turning Point's office. We're having an office opening. We'd like to discuss with you about everything that we're doing with the faith component side of things. And yeah, we met at the office very briefly.
And then we went to Bill's Burgers in New York.
I'm there thinking it's...
Okay, so she's in New York City at this time. Remember, because she prayed about it. She was living in LA and prayed about it and believed God wanted her in New York City. When asked why, she said, because, light needs to be in darkness, something like that. And I thought, you don't think LA needs some light? Okay.
A business interview.
It started that way.
Right. So we sit down and you grill me for what, 3 hours?
He knew.
Yeah.
Easily on philosophy, politics,
culture,
religion, culture, economics.
Listen to this.
Everything else you can imagine. He grilled me. Anything he talks about on his podcast show, he grilled me on.
And he
Take
told me
note of
he was
that.
going to get married. He said, "You won't believe how beautiful she is." I said, well, then now that I meet her, he's right. But then he also said, and you know what? She's like the smartest person I know.
Anything he talks about on his podcast show.
Oops, I cut it off a little early. I think she studied up. I think she studied up, and I think she tells us that. Anything he talks about on his podcast show, she was prepared for. So he would have been really impressed. I wonder how long he stayed impressed for. But all she had to do was get in the door. All she had to do is get in the door and get his attention. Because then she could do the batting the eye thing, right? He was a virgin. He was living with his parents. He was obviously struck by her beauty. As a matter of fact, when Trump tells that story, what did he say Charlie mentioned first? Not how smart she was, but how beautiful she was. Yeah. So she's going to finish that sentence. And then I think I give an example of some insight into the smartness or not of Erica Kirk. Not that you need one, but I bet you haven't seen this one.
No, he grilled me on.
If you don't necessarily hear from God, the audible voice, he will get your attention in ways that he knows will get your attention. When you see,
I put that there. It bugs me that this doesn't stop instantly, like where I stop it. But I want to know if she hears God's voice audibly. I want to know if she hears voices. In this recording of her time at this event, it was 2019. It is absurd that I know that. This was in 2019. She says a couple different times about, don't worry if you don't hear God's voice audibly. Maybe you don't hear God's voice audibly. The implication was that perhaps she does. And why I feel bold enough to say that that's what she was implying is because I've heard that tone a dozen times in reference to things like, don't worry if you don't meet Charlie the way, don't worry if you don't meet your man the way I met Charlie. The implication is always that she's special and that it's unique for her. Just build up a business so you can have somebody else run it when you have your family. But I am now sole supporter of my family, sole provider for my family. It's always the, don't worry if, even though that's the vibe. I hope it makes sense.
still water versus like rapids, like whitewater rapids, and you see the difference between the way that the sun reflects off the water, and when you have a lot of rapids and you're just constantly in go mode and there's no stillness, you can't see the reflection of that sun coming off the water. But if you see the beautiful, serene, still rivers and streams, he can't use you if you're just a cyclone and you're all over the place and no one can.
If she would have said a lake or a pond or a puddle, that analogy would have worked. Rivers and streams flow. I can't even. And again, she has contradicted herself for as many years back as I have gone back to see her different speeches and her talks. She has always contradicted herself. Excuse me, I'm drinking sparkling water, that ginger lemon. And it's great, but I probably shouldn't drink carbonated stuff on here. Still learning all the things. Here we go.
It's so when you're still, you can make better decisions. You're not stressed out. You're not, all over the map. So that's why it's so important to be still with meditation for your mind. How many of you guys are business owners, business owners? Yeah. So the thing that's really cool about that is that we're building something. So even if you're in a storm, just keep building. The devil would love.
What? It's so important to stay still and quiet so you can listen to God's voice. But if you're an entrepreneur, just keep building. Just keep going. Just keep building. And her thinking here is because the ends justify the means. This plays into why she is CEO at Turning Point. I wish I had this clip. I'm sure you'll believe me. You'll trust me when I say when she spoke at the church, Greg Laurie's church, in January of 2026. It was kicking off the Make Heaven Crowded tour. Most stupid name ever, because heaven doesn't have walls. It can't get crowded. Apart from the fact that you also, have to go through a process to get to heaven. So make heaven crowded sounds a little, psychopathic. I knew if I went on a tangent, I would forget what I was going to say. Doug, you got it. I'm going to need you. What was I? Where was I going, honey? What was I saying before that? This is a test. Darn it. Darn it. Darn it. Darn it.
The meditation to being a builder.
To being a builder. Oh, the end game. I cut it off a little early, but she says that the devil wants to take your territory. Okay, so when she was speaking at that church, she says, and she was referring to Candace Owens, she said, somebody suggested in that tone that I have an interim, but why would I do that? To watch them burn it to the ground, and then I have to come in and pick up the pieces. That is modeling exactly what she's saying here. It's disregarding what she knows to be true, which is when it's chaotic, you need to take a beat and be still so you can listen to the power that be outside of yourself. But she tosses that aside because of fear. Because the devil wants to claim your territory, she says. And she says this a lot.
Nothing more than your territory.
I'm actually sitting in his office.
I'm going to back that up just a little bit,
and I have not.
It's worth hearing in
and
context.
streams. He can't use you if you're just a cyclone and you're all over the place and no one can. It's so when you're still, you can make better decisions. You're not stressed out. You're not, all over the map. So that's why it's so important to be still with meditation for your mind. How many of you guys are business owners, entrepreneurs, business owners? Yeah, so the thing that's really cool about that is that we're building something. So even if you're in a storm, just keep building. The devil would love nothing more than your territory.
How little is her God? How little is her God? But again, she said she moved to New York City because God needed her there. Newsflash, God doesn't need us. Doesn't need us. The Bible says, he'll have the rocks cry out and worship him if we don't. God doesn't need us. But she has demonstrated in this whole stepping up to the CEO thing, because the devil wants the territory and it will fall apart without her, which she has done, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, is demonstrate her lack of faith from day one. Because she made the decision on day one. She made the decision. Zero evidence that Charlie wanted her to do this. She has contradicted everything he is and has said in several areas since his death. Now, here's an example. There's a moment in here where Erica Kirk is real. She didn't intend to be. It caught her off guard. But she's real.
I'm actually sitting in his office. This is his home office, and I have not been in here for a very long time. And I've just been, that's part of the reason why I keep looking down. It's not because I'm not wanting to look at you. It's because there are so many treasures in here. Like, for instance, this piece of paper, he wrote on everything. He has papers everywhere. This says, it's the priorities. It says family, children, legacy, kids number one. Versus careerism, consumerism, and loneliness. That's interesting. That's interesting.
3 year.
First of all, more evidence that there was never an investigation taking place. Because they didn't go through his office. They didn't collect some papers. They didn't do that. Later, she says, and I have his phone. Later, she makes it clear in here. She always tells on herself, eventually. Eventually. The Incredibles. She tells on herself. She says, I have his cell phone. The FBI never took his cell phone. Never took it. And they didn't look at his home office. They didn't go through his papers. Everything was right there. That note was right there. And she hadn't been in there. I've had widows share that would be the first place they would go. If that's where the love of their life spent so much of their time writing and meditating, and hours he spent of his Sabbath just getting focused. Notes everywhere. They didn't go in there. They didn't go in there. You've seen this. Glenn Beck just started to say, excuse me, I got a burp again. Goodness, no more sparkly water for me. He accidentally said it's been 3 years. He's going to finish that sentence. And then she says, she has a reaction to that. I've shared this before, but I think it's worth revisiting.
Anniversary. Sorry, the 3-month anniversary feels like 3 years at times.
It feels like 3 years.
Statue of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest from along.
Oh yeah, we are now going to go into what's going on in Tennessee because I lived there for 20 years. But first, it's been 3 months. She's laughing like that. We can all say, people can grieve in their own way. People can also say they've never seen anybody grieve like Erica Kirk is doing. And it's okay to question it. Because she's CEO of the largest conservative political machine out there. Even Donald Trump, who doesn't give people credit for anything, said Charlie Kirk got him elected because of the political machine force that is Turning Point USA. She came out of the gate spouting politics, spouting a hell of a lot of division. Hateful rhetoric, always divisive. I just did a video where I compared Charlie sitting down with Gavin Newsom and having this incredible conversation to Nicki Minaj being on stage with Erica Kirk. And the first thing Erica does is bring up texts, tweets that she has Nicki read that are making fun of Gavin Newsom. I absolutely believe there is a dark force in control of that woman. I think there are moments where she has some respite from it. It's those moments where we go, who's that? Okay, that seems like the real Erica. But that's not who we see most of the time. There's something really deep and dark going on there. Speaking of deep and dark, how's that for a segue, Doug? All right, nailed it. So Doug and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for over 20 years. We have 4 birth and 4 adopted children. Before Brad and Angelina, there was Doug and Christine in Nashville, Tennessee. We have 2 black sons. We have a son from China. They were all older when we adopted them. The 2 brothers, our black sons, our brothers, 6 and 8 years old was their age when we adopted them. Our son from China was 9, and our daughter, who was in fact from Tennessee, also Ohio, was 16 when we adopted her. Systematic racism is a thing. And the idea for this segment started with the Jim Crow. We're in Jim Crow 2 in Tennessee. That was my initial thought. And somehow I went off on a tangent because Doug told me about this guy named Chud?
Chud the Builder.
Chud the Builder. I wasn't necessarily keeping up on a lot of news with my eyes being infected the way they were. Still a touch of it. Chud the Builder. Have you guys heard of this guy? Chud the Builder. Well, first I want to share, we lived in Franklin, Tennessee, which is south of Nashville, about 20 minutes. And you had to drive on Highway 65. You still do. If you're going to get from Columbia, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, to get into Nashville, you have to take Highway 65, which means every day, twice a day, you passed a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Do you know who he is? Well, you're about to hear. Bear in mind, or take note, please, that these local Nashville-based news stations, all but one in these examples, don't come out and say who he was. Not the part that's the most important.
On Interstate 65 in southern Davidson.
A controversial statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest that could be seen from Interstate 65 is now down.
The image of the soldier.
After more than 2 decades, the statue of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest.
The statue of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest.
The image of a soldier on a rearing horse has stood surrounded by flags for each state of the Confederacy since 1998.
The time to read the not so pretty parts of history.
Okay. Nathan Bedford Forrest was the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, which started in Pulaski, Tennessee. You think there's not some systematic racism going on in Tennessee? My white sons didn't get pulled over in their cars. My black sons did. None of those news stations. One does later. They don't. If they won't address it in the news, and instead, you've got this element, right? That it's our history. It's our history, and let's just look on the bright side of things, like this.
Too many refer to as an early leader of the KKK. As with any story, there's multiple chapters and characters develop, which is why cherry-picking facts hurts more than helps.
The taking down of a statue does not help with the educational disparities that still exist in America. Education is power to me. And so the more information you can have, I think the better equipped you are to deal with life.
Anthony Hendricks is the co-founder and director of
He's a friend of ours,
group out of
Anthony
Franklin
is.
that promotes anti-racism through education.
To handle different situations that come your way, to respond properly to these issues that we're dealing with still in our nation.
I'm glad it's gone. It was ugly. Indifferent overall, but it seems to me that, it is part of history and part of the Southern culture.
Had been vandalized several times, sat on the private property owned by this man, Bill Doris.
Over the course of several years, I tried hard to get it to the state to let them.
She's in state government in Tennessee, and what you're about to hear her say, for several years I tried. What she's going to say is to get them to allow just vegetation to grow up around it, because she knows that it's private property, but maybe if they just don't have to look at it, which is the most incredible metaphor of so much of Southern women. And I can say that after living there for 20 years. Not everybody, and there is a core strength that a lot of them have. there's a lot they have to put up with. I can see now why some will just go to the dark side. Is because if you get tired of fighting it so much, you just acquiesced. So I also point out that when she's waving around her hand, she has a hair tie. She has a scrunchie. She has a scrunchie on her wrist. And what she says is, let's just hide it. We'll just pretend like it's not there, which is the most, in my experience, Southern thing ever.
Vegetation grow up.
Scrunchie. Could have put away the scrunchie.
Let vegetation grow up on the highway around it because it's private property, so we couldn't obviously ask to have it taken down, but we could ask to not see it because it's hurtful.
The statue of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest crumbled while being removed along I-65. A report by the Joint Select Committee of 1872 that credits General Forrest and other men of influence for disbanding the Ku Klux Klan and similar groups. County came as a surprise even to those who knew it would happen. Since being erected,
Of course, it came as a surprise. The whether it was the protests or the people celebrating it, there was actually somebody that offered to buy it or temporarily rent the space or something so they could sell tickets as a fundraiser but celebrate it coming down. This was a big deal. It was ugly. I hope I added the screenshots. I'm not sure, but it's that art piece. Is it called the Scream or Silent Scream? The egghead guy. He's like, oh, or but without noise. That's how contorted this guy's Force's face was by the guy who made it, and it was like plaster and stuff. It was just gross. Not that a well done statue of the guy would have been more appreciated, but there's that element of people. It's history. It's history.
in the late 1990s, the statue has been vandalized multiple times. And in October of 2020, when the word monster was spray painted on the structure, and in 2017, when it was covered in paint.
I think it's disgusting that any statue is destroyed.
Miller, like others who support Forrest's place in Tennessee history, feel this dismantle, along with the removal of a bust of the general from the state capitol earlier this year, further misrepresent the legacy of a man Miller says was a successful war hero who won most of his battles.
After the war, he tried to rebuild Tennessee.
He won.
Constructing railroads, hiring blacks and whites alike to help rebuild the state.
The co-founder and director of The Public, a group out of Franklin that promotes anti-racism through education.
I love the fact that I don't have to ride down 65 anymore and see this reminder of what people thought about me and my ancestors. On the other hand, I'm still thinking, does the removal of any of these Confederate memorabilia, does it change the hearts and minds of the people?
All right, we know who.
No, it doesn't. I remember on Martin Luther King Day, I heard two good old boys in Franklin, Tennessee. There was this deep-rooted good old boy network, older gentlemen, and I heard one tell the other, "Happy Robert E. Lee Day," and they were just kind of chuckling, like they just had to tolerate Martin Luther King Day. So Doug told me about this Chud guy. And this host, I will tag him because he does a great job. And the sentence we missed was him saying, "You all know about this guy." Have you guys heard of this? Chud the Builder in Nashville? Is that a play on Bob the Builder? And what's he build? Would you look that up? Is he actually like a contractor? Chud the Builder.
Chud is. He's the weirdo, racist streamer / content creator who goes around antagonizing people. Chud the Builder has pew-pewed a man that he was in an altercation on the street with. And while doing so, he actually did graze himself in the process.
I walked up to him because they were pointing at me. They were laughing. They were pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
And claiming that free speech is going to save him.
Up or down, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm on set initial bond.
I'm sorry, you
After
guys.
they arrested me, they did not take me to the jail to book.
That are provocateurs in the space that go around spreading anti.
Well, this story may have just wrapped up. I guess it did.
I told y'all we used to smoke.
I guess it did.
Weed. Me, him, and my ex-wife. I am a professional pegger. It is no.
Oh, that's so funny. A professional pegger. Okay. So I'm just going to have to break this down for you. Why is it still going? I paused it.
It's not on here.
Like it's not.
What do you mean?
I don't know what is going on. Okay, let me just, even if I turn the sound off, it's not responding. If I try to pause it, it's not doing anything. How do you do it, honey? How do I turn?
What do you want to do?
Well, right now, the audio I hear is Charlie Kirk. It's not what's going on. Like, I don't hear Trump talking right now.
I do.
You hear Trump
It
talking?
started off interestingly because
All
they're
I hear
very
is Charlie.
organized people.
Oh, is it my phone?
And as
Is
you
my
know, we have about
Bluetooth on my
30 of the
phone?
biggest business leaders in the world, and they're all
So
here.
if
I
you
didn't
would
invite
look
them,
at
they all
my
wanted to come.
phone.
It's not.
And they're all here, and I suggested that before we start the meeting,
All I hear. All I hear is Erica Kirk talking. The Bluetooth is off of my phone.
I don't know.
Can you hear Doug? He has tone issues.
Take them out. You don't need them.
Oh, okay, but I do because I can't hear the video of what's playing.
Use mine.
Use yours? Stuff. We actually got new earbuds, even though Doug had some because I don't like ear stuff. Oh my God. Ew. Ew. Now I'm hearing me, but on a delay.
Put yours back in. It was on your phone.
It was on my phone. I said, Doug, did he check the Bluetooth? No, he stood at the desk here going. And then I was like, check the Bluetooth. This is a callback to Erica Kirk. Now, actually, you should be looking at me, tilting your head and saying you're sorry.
I'm sorry you left your phone on.
Did you hear that? He said, could you turn the sound off? Because it's an echo. All right. The other reason I knew, okay. We just step out of the room then. Of shit. Because she kept talking about how perfect Charlie was. How perfect. Perfect. They're not perfect. Our partners are never perfect. He just stepped out and it turned these off. I think, all right, we are just gonna roll with it. That chud stuff was interesting though. Let me see if this will work now. How we doing? Are you still here? Are you still with me? Are we still doing this together? All right. Let's see if this will talk.
He tells me that, oh, you know, the FBI is interested in talking to you. We're waiting on him. He comes in there. They sit down. He's like, okay, I'm with the.
Okay, we're
It's
gonna
private property,
back
so we
up.
couldn't obviously ask to have
We've
it taken
seen
down,
her.
but we could ask to not.
Erected in the late 1990s, the statue
We've seen
mantle,
her.
along with the removal of a bust of the general from the state capitol early.
The segue was showing the root and the depth of the racism in Tennessee, the history of the KKK, which ties into what they're doing now with the voting maps and Jim Crow too. All of that. It's deep rooted. And my friend Anthony Hendricks, who heads up that organization, which I did not know, he just popped up when I was doing a little research, which took me a little bit to do. So I don't want to just skip over this. And he ends by saying, will taking down these statues change the hearts of people? What's good, I think there's just a generation that is going to have to leave the planet before some of this dissipates. There's a comedian named Neil Brennan who I really like, and I can't quote him exactly, but he said, we just need to F racism off the planet. We just need to F racism off the planet. He meant by like breeding, when we, because, there's a lot more marriages, a lot more relationships, which scares a lot of people. And I think that's why when Charlie Kirk in Turning Point says, have more babies, get married young, have more babies than you can afford, it's a white organization. It's a white organization. On occasion, you see a little speckle of something in the sea of whiteness, but it's a white organization. They're telling the white people to breed, not everybody else. So that's why they're saying that. Okay. But it's deep rooted in Tennessee, as it is other places. People who say systematic racism don't exist have not dug deep. Okay. And again, it was my black sons who got pulled over by the cops, not my white ones in Tennessee. So
People are asking why they would get pulled over.
Why they would get pulled over? I'm trying to remember exactly what the excuse was. It didn't, I remember it being like so non of anything that I was angry. Like that's not a reason. I have 8 children, so I get a little discombobulated. My nightmare was if somebody called from the school and asked who their homeroom teacher was, or if I had to fill that out on a form. I can't say specifically. Can you? It could be something like going 2 miles over the speed limit. Things like that. So let's just let this roll into Chud, the builder guy. Whoops, it went away. Now it's back.
Earlier this year, further misrepresent the legacy of a man Miller says was a successful war hero who won most of his battles.
After the war, he tried to rebuild Tennessee,
We're
constructing
backtracking a little bit,
railroads,
but
hiring blacks and whites alike to help
blacks and
rebuild
whites.
the state.
He hired
Co-founder
blacks and
and
whites
director
alike.
of The Public, a group out of Franklin that promotes
That language gives you a
anti-racism
little
through
insight.
education.
I love the fact that I don't have to ride down 65 anymore and see this reminder of what people thought about me and my ancestors. On the other hand, I'm still thinking, does the
Could you
removal
even
of any
imagine?
of these Confederate memorabilia does it
I
change
can't
the
think of what
hearts
even to
and
compare
minds
that
of
to.
people?
All right, we know who Chud is. He's the weirdo, racist streamer slash content creator who goes around antagonizing people. Chud the Builder has pew-pewed a man that he was in an altercation on the street with. And while doing so, he actually did graze himself in the process.
I walked up to him because they were pointing at me. They were laughing. They were pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He was still wailing on me
and claiming that free speech is going to save him.
Okay, so there was a black gentleman leaving the courthouse or outside the courthouse in Nashville.
Clarksville.
I'm sorry, in Clarksville. Thank you. Because he had a case that he had to deal with. Was it like a domestic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he recognized this guy. Chud is very well known, very recognizable. And he tells him, "I'm a vet. I have PTSD. If you start coming at me," and he said with all the chimp stuff, because is that what you said, Doug, that he would go up to black people and call them monkeys and things like that, just trying to get a reaction. And the guy gave him a warning, like, don't do this. This is my emotional makeup right now. Don't do this. And for this Chud guy, it was just fuel for the fire, I guess. All right.
Up or down, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set initial bond at 1.25 million, based upon the fact of how many people were in the courtyard, were here at the courthouse, and the seriousness of all these felonies, and his bond status. And then
All right, pausing real quick. So this is the bond hearing for Chud. $1.25 million. Which what? You have to put up 10% or something? And obviously you can see on his face he's dejected. What I'm pointing out here is the black gentleman who stares him down the entire time. And you said, honey, there was other video where like longer stretches of time of this court situation, and the security guy is just staring him down. Don't want you to miss that.
26 at 9 for preliminary hearing right here.
Was Chud the Builder getting arrested for stealing dinner and then becoming a public nuisance, harassing people, resisting arrest, all these other things?
Somebody could come up and try to kill me right now, and there's nothing I could do about it, but I'm protected by the Lord, and I believe in his divine protection.
Was the restaurant thing before or after the shooting?
It was before, and he was out on bond for that.
Okay. So that's why the judge was like, in lieu of the bond that you're out of, and the fact that a gun was he was discharging his gun around with a lot of other people around. That's why it was so high. The Lord, he knows the Lord is protecting him. I can't even. Oh, I have a hard time finding words. The church is so broken, so broken.
Just to clarify, because somebody's saying, are you excusing violence? The black person that was shot did not make any physical movement towards him until the Chud guy pulled out his gun. So he's claiming self-defense, but now there's security footage that the black guy was not physical at all until the gun was drawn.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And isn't that what we're told to do if somebody pulls out a gun? Like, oh no, it's run. You're supposed to run because the chance of them hitting a vital organ, but maybe in his training. These are both military guys. These are both military guys. which, oh, we don't take care of our veterans. But the church is so broken. Religion is so broken. The power and control and the shame of being told, how unworthy you are, even though, the savior thing is dangled there. It's like, if you don't do this, you're going to burn, right? There's something really broken in that. I know some of you guys get really excited when I do all my Bible speak, and somebody said, oh, this Charlie Kirk happening has brought you back into the fold. No, I know the language, and I'm not using it manipulatively. I'm just saying that I know the Bible. I know what it should be. I also know that there's something broken, very broken. And I think it's a core issue, and that Jesus is still weeping. All right, let's go on.
Other than that, I'm literally a sitting duck.
They took me to a building that was not the jail. After they arrested me, they did not take me to the jail to book immediately. They took me to some building, then some dude in plain clothes gets out. He's clearly a detective, and he takes me into the room in the back of the building, leaves me there for like an hour. He tells me that, oh, the FBI is interested in talking to you. We're waiting on him. He comes in there. They sit down. He's like, okay, I'm with the anti-terrorist organization, or
that's right,
whatever unit. He's talking to me, asking me questions, saying, are you with any organizations? And I'm like, organizations? I'm literally just a dude with a phone. Then he says, well, are you affiliated with the GDL? Like, what the is a GDL? Never even heard nothing like that. The Goyim Defense League.
But the GDL is basically a group of white supremacists that are provocateurs in the space that go around spreading anti-Semitic rhetoric, certain costumes and clothing, try to provoke people in the public space.
I'm not defeated about anything that you guys know about yet.
He sounds it, though.
He gets disowned from his family.
I might as well just tell you what I'm really upset about. My son's mother texted me today saying that she wants to change his name, switch it from mine. She fears for him. She's just a woman. They're all cowards, and I get it. They don't understand what it means to be at war. I try not to be like that.
I told y'all we used to smoke. He used to sell me weed. Me, him, and
Sexism aside, what did he bring up? War. They don't know what it's like to be at war. The mental health services needed for our veterans, for an active service people. God, I wish they would just refuse to go to Iran. And I know there's I don't want to say there's ignorance behind this. I feel like I have to walk this back, like because Doug's not in the military. I don't have a son in the military. I wish they wouldn't go. This is just what I'm thinking. So here it is. I wish they wouldn't go. Just don't go. And I don't mean just like it's a trite thing. I understand there's finances involved, that there's career advancement involved, but this won't stop. It's not going to stop at all unless people don't go or the generals shut it down, disobey orders. It's not going to stop otherwise. There's some stuff that touches on that later. But on a lighter note, sometimes men who are so overtly either homophobic, I'm telling you things you already know. That are so hateful toward a people group have little quirks. Now notice not only that he has a little quirk, but note the ethnicity of the person that he would turn to for that quirk.
My ex-wife. I am a professional pegger. It is no secret that I perform prostate massages, if you will. 2015. He was a little chubbier then.
Chud the Builder himself or his cameraman or his team or whatever the case may be have linked Chud the Builder with this woman.
I cut out a lot of what she had to say. If you want the insight into what's a sexual deviant? Like, what's the literal definition of a sexual deviant? Just somebody who is off the path of missionary? Where would that line start? A sexual deviant. Do you guys know? Do you know? And yeah, that was Trump getting off the plane in China. I don't remember what the segue was in my mind. Perhaps the war stuff. Perhaps just that, you know, it's just me catching up on current events. And I think that was it. But he does go into some of the war stuff. Do we have a definition?
Just somebody with a wide range of sexual behaviors and desires that are different than the accepted social norms.
Huh.
So it's kind of could be relative.
Okay. But that's funny. We only know what the social norms are because people talk about it, right? So maybe it's more the norm than we know. Whatever. Trump went to China. They gave him quite a welcome. Part of that involved children. And I'm curious if there was just some passive aggressive little jab there. And then he met with Sean Hannity and had a little interview. I think he was still there when he had that interview. But that's just a little oversight into what is coming. Trump loves grand gestures.
Well, we have a relationship, he and I, and we've been working together a long time. We've gotten along well. We have a very good relationship. We have a friendship, really. I mean, if
Did you follow it all? You know, the tariff situation and how China was dealing with Trump, because Trump would say that China had agreed to certain things and China would come out and say, we didn't say that. Just like with Iran, he's like, yeah, Iran has said this or this has happened. And Iran's like, we didn't know. And then the satellites and then the CIA report that has contradicted everything. We can't believe it. How'd it go in China? You know, everything was great. Well, everything wasn't great. You know, those business people, Elon and the top 30, you know, business people, he didn't tell them that they were coming. He didn't tell them. He just brought them and apparently brought them to like the first meeting. They didn't know they were coming. And listen to Trump, of course, try to wash his hands of this.
I got out of a plane and nobody was there to greet me, I would say that wouldn't be so cool. It started off interestingly because they're very organized people. And as you know, we have about 30 of the biggest business leaders in the world, and they're all here. I didn't invite them. They all wanted to come. And they're all here.
They just showed up on the plane.
That before we start the meeting, I'd like to introduce them to you. And they were surprised because it wasn't scheduled. And they looked around, they said, well...
30 people. Surprise. Now, Trump had just said that he would be disappointed. No, he said it would not be cool. It would not be cool if he flew somewhere and there was no one to greet him at the airport and no reception. Trump didn't even make it all the way down the steps when Zelensky went to Mar-a-Lago. Couldn't make it all the way down the steps. And of course, going to contrast that to what he did for Putin.
See some of your other networks, the way they cover, they will take
a massive military
Oh,
victory
shoot.
and make it like we should have done it faster. Vietnam lasted for 19 years, right? I think.
Eventually. I got a little rushed. I can't, like, one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Eventually, the Putin clip is going to come in. Okay. What he's doing right now, and it'll come in some random place. I won't even stop. We'll just, the contrast. But I get so distracted. Like, one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And I need to just focus and push through an outline. But here, Trump is saying that we've only lost a few people. We've only lost 13 people. It's only been a couple months as opposed to the years and the thousands of lost. And he does this little thing where he's almost like, we've only lost. I repeat it a couple times. Crazy. So that's why I'm saying don't go. Don't go. They don't care. There are soldiers starving. Some have lost like 40 pounds on these ships because they don't have enough food for them. Don't go.
Iraq was 10 years. Thousands and thousands of people killed. There are many, many thousands in Vietnam. And we have, sadly, we've lost, in 2 wars, we've lost 13 people. 13. That's 13 people too many, but we've lost 13 as opposed to 75,000, as opposed to 50,000. Think of
Zero
it.
empathy.
We're 19 years in Vietnam. Every war, we're 4 years, 8 years, 9 years. Iraq was 10 years. We're on all these wars. I've never, like a couple of months.
A couple of months. And then he leaves. He looks a little more dejected when he leaves, doesn't he? A little more dejected.
Their armed forces, essentially. And on Taiwan, he doesn't want to see a movement for independence. He says, look, we've had it for thousands of years, and then...
Now, I have to confess, I didn't know a lot about the Taiwan Chinese history, so I'm going to share a little information. We're all learning. We're all learning things. I don't claim to be a summa cum laude. So when I learn things, I think, well, somebody else out there probably doesn't know this either. For centuries, Taiwan was ruled by different powers, including the Qing dynasty of China and later Japan from 1895 to 1945. After World War II, control of Taiwan went to the Republic of China government. That was right after World War II. In the Chinese Civil War, the Chinese Communist Party defeated the Republic of China. That was in 1949. The communists established the People's Republic of China on the mainland China because Taiwan is off the southeast coast of China. They established the People's Republic of China on the mainland China under Mao Zedong. The Republic of China government retreated to Taiwan in 1949 and continued governing there. Since then, Beijing continues to claim that Taiwan is part of China, but Taiwan operates with its own government, military, elections, passport, and economy. Taiwan has never been ruled by the People's Republic of China. The United States has supported Taiwan military for several main reasons. To help, guess what? Money. Of course, it's all financial. Of course, it's financially related. But they have helped. We have helped prevent a forced takeover of Taiwan by the People's Republic of China. And we've done that to maintain stability in East Asia and nearby shipping routes critical to global trade. to support, and we've also done it to support a long-time political and economic partner, which is basically the same thing. What do we get from Taiwan? The biggest thing, Doug.
Semiconductor.
Semiconductors. Semi.
It's not a truck.
You know, you're on thin ice already. Taiwan plays a major role in global computer technology because it manufactures a huge share of the world's advanced semiconductors, also called computer chips. Only a small number of countries officially recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state. Most countries, including the United States, officially recognize Beijing. China doesn't want us recognizing Taiwan. They definitely don't want us selling weapons to them. So on the plane, the reporters knew undoubtedly this was going to come up with Trump and this important meeting he was having. And here's how he responded.
At a certain period of time it left, that we were going to get it back. They had the Korean War, a lot of things happened, and all this. But no, on Taiwan, he feels very strongly. I made no commitment either way. We'll see what happens.
What about the arms sales to Taiwan?
I'll make a determination over the next fairly short period.
So you're not necessarily going to go ahead. It was your
I'm
proposal.
going to make a determination. I'm going to see. I have to speak to the person that right now is, you know who he is, that's running Taiwan.
Hired a company that had never worked for the.
So, yes, we're going on to the reflective pool yet. Yeah. So Trump, they don't want him. They don't want him even talking to the guy who runs Taiwan. And we know who that is. And yes, so does the president of China. And he now knows that this is still in negotiation. The whole taking his little posse over there. Trump is a coward at heart, an absolute coward. That's why when he's out of the country, the CIA goes into Tulsi Gabbard's office and takes the MK Ultra documents. And what was the other one? MK Ultra and the guys, help me out here. What was it that she was working on the release of? And there was another big thing, something big that he doesn't want to deal with. Typically happens when he goes out of the country. The JFK files. Yeah, because he claimed he gave us all that. He didn't. He did not. Who's the CIA podcaster that you listen to, Doug? Come on.
Going blank.
You're going blank. All right, let me know when you know. But doesn't take a lot to realize that we have not been told much of anything regarding JFK. And it seems like now, would be a good time considering Charlie Kirk's assassination, or maybe that's why they want to pull it back.
John Kerry Marcoux.
John Kerry, how do you say his last name? Marcoux?
Something like that.
Something like that. Doug likes this guy. Since I've started doing this full time, I catch Doug listening to podcasts and it kind of freaks me out. So did I mention we have new Think Happy Stuff apparel?
Vibe Tribe CEO said she's wearing her Think Happy shirt today.
Awesome. You guys, please post and tag me in your Think Happy Stuff pictures. If it's a mug, if it's a hat, which we need to get more in, if it's the gift book, which we only have how many more gift books?
25.
Only like 25 more. Okay. It'll take a little while to get those in because I have to order a lot at the same time. Also, the lipstick, I told you the supplier is no more. Doesn't make it anymore. It's Gwen Stefani's brand who went out of business. And I have a contact who bought some up and got it from her. And then this is it. So if you like the red, it's on the site. but then it is no more. I'm not exactly sure how many of those we have, but they will be gone before long, because especially when I do a live, they tend to be bought up. I want to do this for you guys today. If you order, Doug, you should see Doug, his head just threw back like, what are you going to do? Because I did something like this last time. If you order something from us because you've seen this live, if you've made it this far, bless you. If you order something, when you order, put an asterisk after your name, and I'll know you saw it here. And we have these really cool tea towels, and I'll put one of those, or Doug will put one of those in there for you. Is that cool? Yes. He's nodding yes. It's not an enthusiastic yes, but he's nodding yes. So, but when you order, it supports us, and we appreciate it very, very much. You've been amazing to us. When this started to take off for me, which I was just kind of thrust upon me, I think it's because Rosie O'Donnell shared a post I did on Instagram that broke down the Epstein ties to the White House, starting with Bill Burr's, sorry, comedian Bill Barr's father, who hired Epstein as a teacher, a math teacher, when he was not the least bit qualified nor college educated. And it was the Dalton prestigious school. And yeah, so Candace actually, she did something very similar, basically the same thing, actually. Great minds think alike. So where was I going? Doug? Checking in to see if you're paying attention.
Fixed on the video.
You were fixed on what video?
I said whatever is next on the video.
Whatever's next on. The pool thing is another thing that went down while I was out of commission with, my eye infections. Otherwise, I would have done a post on this. Another example of Trump saying it was going to cost 1.3 million. Now it's like 17 or something. Just like the ballroom. I did a Instagram thing on that. A lot of what I do on Instagram doesn't make it here. So I would encourage you to follow me both places. Please subscribe so you get notifications when I'm going to do this. And hopefully you will come back with the technical difficulties at all. We will get there. But just like with the ballroom, that was supposed to be 200 million, and we wouldn't pay for it. 300 million, but we wouldn't pay for it. 400, but we wouldn't pay for it. Over and over and over and over. It looked in the camera. You won't pay a dime. We're getting pushback. The judge won't let us build the ballroom, even though it's being donated. We're donating a ballroom, and we're getting pushback. It's a gift. We're donating a ballroom. It's a gift. Then that little staged shooting. Yeah, if you follow Candace, you know that you've seen I'm not prepared to go into all this, but Candace Owens did, about the email that went out, the communications people telling him to push the Erica Kirk crying video. It's all very intentional. All very intentional, all this stuff getting pushed on us. So the pool, once again, he says he knows the contractors, says he knows what he's doing, and then, spoiler, as you already know, he walks that way back.
Federal government before, giving them a special no-bid contract that has grown from an initial cost of around $1.8 million to more than $13 million. And now it appears that project isn't going so well. The New York Times reports that the repairs appear uneven and behind schedule. And so naturally, Trump is distancing himself from the company doing those repairs, posting on Truth Social, quote, "I didn't give out the contract," quote, I don't know why it's in quotes, "Interior did, to a contractor I did not know and have never used before."
I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to call all three of these people that have worked for me in the past. So I called people that do swimming pools, and I said, go take a look at it. I'm going to send my contractor over.
It is not Donald Trump's money. It doesn't belong to his billionaire cabinet that he's assembled. It is the money of hardworking taxpayers.
It's not his money. It's not his money. Plus, we're part of the revenge tour because we didn't elect him in 2020. We are part of the revenge tour. He does not care about us at all. Not even a little bit. I meant to share, it was supposed to be the next clip, but I see Charlie coming up. I shared, again on my Instagram, but it is going to be shared here, the clip where Donald Trump says, point blank, he does not think about American finances when it comes to the decisions he makes about the war. He doesn't think about our finances because it doesn't affect him. Narcissists don't have empathy. So he doesn't think about us. Somebody responded that I was taking that out of context. Donald Trump's comment, where he literally says he doesn't think about Americans' finances. That made me think about how a montage I shared, I don't remember the whole thing, but I shared a video of Charlie Kirk saying that in preserving the Second Amendment, there will be gun deaths and that it's worth it, that it is worth it to preserve the Second Amendment. I wasn't making fun of Charlie saying that. Soon after he was assassinated, I brought that up. I was like, now that being said, we are gun owners. We have more than one. So we're not anti-Second Amendment. I was just pointing out that he said that it was worth it. So I put these two clips together. First, going to take a couple minutes, hopefully, unless Trump's clip interrupts, which, considering the technical things today, could happen. Are you clipping your nails over there?
Fidgeting.
He's fidgeting. You are being incredibly patient. But this is Charlie Kirk talking about gun control, and I don't know how people say his comment about some gun deaths are worth it, even though he literally used those words in at least one clip to preserve the Second Amendment. When he says these things, this whole taken out of context thing, I think it's just a brush off, like, so they don't have to think cognitively. It's like with Candace Owens or with anybody who speaks up against this narrative that's being pushed about Charlie, that people aren't buying. The general public isn't buying. But with Candace, all they have to do is just say she's crazy, right? If you call somebody crazy, if you call them demonic, well, crazy and demonic are bad things. My dogs are wrestling on the bed right now. Are bad things. So there's a certain element of people who don't want to think. Our brains protect ourselves. Our brains protect ourselves. And so if it's too contrary to our thinking, our brain goes, nope. So if we're given that out, like, oh, she's just crazy or it's demonic, our brains a lot of times will go to that. Mine has with different things. Like, I can't deal with that right now. I can't process that right now. And then as time goes by, a little bit more will reveal itself. Honey, you're going to have to take the dogs out, babe. Please. Pretty please. Thank you so much. They're little dogs. He can carry a couple at a time. I told you last time I did this, I would show you at least Bubby, the little one, but I get distracted, as you can tell. All right. Like I said, all you got to do is convince. You can hear him. Click, click, click. All you got to do is keep saying, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's a demon. And people dismiss her. I think he's taking them outside for a walk. They get really excited, as they should be. I'm up often late. If you follow when I post, especially on Instagram, it can be 3 or 4 in the morning. If it's 5 in the morning, I've been up all night. And they have, started, the little pups, about 2 o'clock in the morning. They look at me like, it's time to go. It's time to take a little walk. And I love walking them at that time. I love it. I digress. Okay, here's Charlie. Guns. Here we go.
We need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to 0. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools. Yes. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. Wow. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is.
See, whether you show that entire clip or just the last sentence or two, he's saying what he's saying, that it's worth it. I'm not saying he's wrong or right. I'm just saying that just because you don't show everything before it doesn't change what he's saying, right? Am I missing something there? It doesn't change the end result, which is what he's saying, is that some gun deaths are worth it. It's detached. I don't know that he had children yet at that point. Just like Trump is able to say, it's just 12 people. Well, what if those are 13 people, excuse me, which we know it's more. We know it's a lot more. But what if out of those 13, it included all his sons, his daughter? But he can't think of it even being one. He can't do it. All right, more on Charlie in this thing.
It's a prudent deal.
I tend to err on the side of it is a right. The government screws up more than it does correct in this specific portion. And the downside to having more guns is far better than the downside of having only the government have guns.
Even if that can cost American lives, though? I mean, me personally, I would give up all of my guns in a heartbeat if I knew for a fact that it was going to save one life.
Can I do a thought experiment to you?
Sure.
So do you think we should ban driving?
No, I don't think so. And I know where you're going with this.
55,000 people a year die from car accidents, right?
Right,
so
absolutely. But those are accidents, though. That's not someone intentionally going and killing somebody. Well, that's not true. Some people intentionally do, or some people have DUIs, right? Some of it is an act of agency, not just accidents, right? So 66% of that 33,000 figure about gun crime is suicides. We're the only country in the world to count death by suicide as a gun death. So all of a sudden you remove that, we have 11,000 gun deaths every single year. It's the first thing that is said.
I added that clip in there just to show, Charlie's contradicting himself a little bit in this, where he wants to throw out, which is a false equivalency. That there's no equivalency to say, we're not going to ban cars because people die in auto accidents. And the guy tries to say, well, but they're not all in a certain category. Charlie kind of dismisses that. Yet with gun stats, he is willing to tear it down. So that was just a little, we all contradict ourselves one way or another. But in this context, I thought it should be shared. Larry.
In the gun control debate, when the statistics are that heavily slanted in that direction, immediately when something bad happens, the first thing that is said is somehow I have to give up my weapon because I did nothing wrong. Because I do it responsibly, I manage it properly, I store it correctly, I obey the laws, and it's my fault. I have to give up
a weapon because some lunatic did something that had nothing to do with what I did, I completely and totally reject that.
What about something, you know, as I mentioned, with taking a driving test to be able to get a driver's license, you have to prove that you know how to operate the vehicle safely. What about something similar to that with owning a gun? Some kind of thing where you go to a range with a trained professional,
No.
you show that you know how to operate the gun, you know, safely, know how to store it safely, things like that. Yet,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and then
so-
once you pass that, you get some kind of card that allows you to buy a gun.
This is interesting.
I mean, it's all
think
about
that-
protections. It's not about
yes,
restricting
on
rights.
that, you might have some agreement with me. Because actually, the number one cause of errant gun deaths is accidental discharges. People that don't know what they're doing with their gun.
I understand.
And so I think that could be prevented through better training. So for that, I actually might have some middle ground.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hope you and your family had a blessed Easter. God
Did
bless
you
everybody.
expect that?
Great job. Thank you.
I didn't expect that.
The technology.
I understand.
You would agree a DUI is a reckless act.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a
absolutely.
vast majority of auto deaths.
What do you have to do to be
Oh,
able
I
to
got
drive
these
though? You
two
have to get a
out of
driver's
order.
license. You
I'm
have to take a
sorry.
test with an
No,
instructor.
of course. But I'm saying if the pursuit of to save, if it's all about saving lives, then there are certain things that we'd get rid of. I would say though that government is not merely there for our safety. It's one of the primary focuses. You have to balance liberty and safety. And that's a tough balance at times. I fall on this issue on the side of liberty.
I don't know why it paused, but they had a really good conversation, and this was actually from the Turning Point site, and I believe it was called "The Best Debate I've Had About Gun Control." And I appreciate that Charlie was able to say, "Yeah, okay." Did you just laugh about something?
No, the dogs.
That was the dog. I thought Doug did a little. I was like, what? Use your words. All right.
When and if the man has sought you out, when it's that type of guy, you will know and you'll be ready. You
starting
won't say,
over.
"Oh,
Was that the
I don't know
end?
about this."
Was that
Know how to
the
store it
end?
Safely, things like that. Yet,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and then
so-
once you pass. Oh, for sure.
And that's a
absolutely.
vast majority of auto deaths.
That
Yeah,
was
to be-
that was it. Can you make that go away now? Can you make that go away? All right. That was me catching up on news and going in different directions. I have my glasses on. I can better see your comments. I am going to fixate on the comments right now. What are we doing? Doug touching the buttons. Okay. Doug just pulled up ones that have color on them. All right, I need to turn up the brightness on my screen so I can. Oh my gosh. Why didn't I have that the whole time? All right, scam shorty. I mentioned this earlier when they say I've been dreaming of this live my entire life. And my response was somewhat like, dream bigger. That being said, that is incredibly flattering, and I am glad that you are here. Thank you. Like the bear, I referred to this earlier, but did not read all of it. I've adored you. So I'm since it starts like that, I'm going to read the whole thing out loud. I've adored you since I saw first Erica video. Have resonated 100%. You helped me feel sane. As somehow I just now met my first IRL person following CK. What's IRL? IRL. Someone in the comment will probably. Let's go, Max. She's nuts, neurotic. She absolutely
In real life.
is. Oh, in real life. As I somehow. You help me feel sane as somehow I just met my first in real life person following. In real life, what? Like in real life about what? Help me understand because I want to hear you. Doug is like, move it on. I'm staying present. I'm trying to understand. Welcome back. This is the first one I've been able to catch Central Time Zone here. Wow. Wonder if you're still awake. Thank you, Shamberly. Crippy Sue creates these names are so funny. You just keep being the best you can be. Yeah, that's the goal. The gaslighting is out of the world, says like the bear. And the awakening is the most amazing thing to witness. History in the making. I have to tell you, to be connected with Candace, who sees my Instagram and has liked posts and comment that's a year ago, you actually could not get me to listen to Candace a year ago. I looked up an old message that I had sent somebody, a reply to her saying, there's this episode of Candace, you should check it out. And my response is literally like, I can't. Like, I tried, but I can't. I just can't. And I can't even fully articulate why, but I was just put off. I just couldn't listen to Candace Owens. And so the first post of mine she liked, I like put it on my Instagram, like I did a post about it. It was just so funny that I would care that much about it, or even partner with her in this way. But also like Baron Coleman and Coach Colin and Lionel Nation. And when we're so focused on this, I forget that there are differences in other areas. And I was watching Baron. This actually makes me a little sad. I mean, what makes me sad, but I'm like, I was watching Baron a couple days ago, and he referred to liberal women, and he said it was something about their hand motions in regard to something, and he goes, and you know how liberal women do with their hands, and I went, oh yeah, we're united over this, but there's still, them and us, and I'm hoping we can get past that. It just like, it just really made me sad. I don't even know what hand motions he was talking about, but I was like, okay. But this is a starting place. It took this. I wouldn't know who they were otherwise. So I didn't listen to podcasts. I did not listen to podcasts. Was not my thing. Electronic bookworm. Loving how you use the ADD thing to your advantage. Makes for hilarious asides and digressions to balance the heavy topics. If you see my Instagram, I do a lot of these quick edit, quick reaction videos, which I love to do, which I can't do here. I'm learning how to balance here's a clip and here's me reacting, because for a year now, almost a year, it's very quick, but I can do that in editing, not so much here, as you can see. And I forgot what I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, but I do with the ADD will go off on tangents, but I also think that is why I pick up things that the big ones like Baron and Candace don't. One, I mean, there's too much for Candace to focus on. She can't cover it all, but I'll pick up these things that are kind of like these squirrel moments, right? But there's something there worth seeing, at least to me, and apparently to 350,000 people on Instagram. So please subscribe here if you haven't. It'd be fun to get this number up too. It's crazy. Just in Doug, we figured this out. It was just like 1,000 subscribers. And then I went on Instagram and I said, okay, if you guys want me to do this YouTube thing. No, it was like 800 subscribers. I was like, if you guys want me to do this YouTube thing, let's get it up. Let's do like 1,000 subscribers. And then it was, and then I was like, oh, it took a little while to get organized, but we're talking in like 4 months, maybe like in 4 months that I don't know how many subscribers I have now, but maybe like 54,000. And so I'll peek at people that have been doing it longer, that who aren't necessarily their top. Like I looked up like Graham Allen, and he has like 100 and something thousand, but he's been doing it for 7 years. 7 years. And we're just a few months in and we're at 54 and 1 if you subscribe. So appreciate you doing that. Okay. Creepy Sue creates. Oh, Kippy, Crippy, creepy. Stu create. My glasses only go so far. The computer's still kind of far away. He was a dweeb cute, Charlie. I get that. When you're intelligent and articulate, it balances out. That's what I was saying. Attractive involves the whole package. Aesthetic, like you wouldn't just, or I wouldn't pass Charlie on the street and go, oh, he's handsome, but I could see where I could find him attractive if it were the whole conversation thing, except I didn't agree with most of what he said. So forget that. The thing is, people become more attractive with great personalities. Yes. The only thing she had was a face and a body with her personality. It only gets worse. Yes. I'm sorry. I need to read this so you guys know. The only thing she had was a face and a body. With her personality, it only gets worse. They really weren't equally yoked. I saw a video, and I can't attest to the authenticity, the credibility. It's somebody that's supposed to be a Turning Point employee. They're in the dark. They're doing the fake voice thing. And they're saying that in the last few months, I don't think it was weeks, I think it was months of Charlie Kirk's life, he was like a shell of himself, that he wasn't talking about how much he loved Erica all the time and things like that. And we've been talking about waking up collectively, and it sounds like he potentially had one of his own. An awakening, that is. Real Bays, yes, you said. I think denial is also Erica's happy place. Hello, new member, Joyous 555. Thank you for being here. It was the members that I sent notes out to when my eyes were down, infected, saying, "You guys, I'm this is what's going on." Side note says, I'm so sorry, Kai. You know who you are, Kai. Side note, my son.
Michelle XO.
Oh, Kai Michelle XO. Thank you, honey. Side note, my son wants to know what it was like meeting Jafar. Mike. Oh, I was on the Michael Jackson movie. In the Michael Jackson movie. And guess what? I didn't think I was going to get royalties because they cut my line out. But I am. I'm going to get royalties. That means for the rest of my life, I will get paid based on, if you buy it online, if you download it. Not for I was paid, my salary for that day was what I got for that day, for the just doing the work. And the big screen, and that work was for the intent for it to go, which it did, to the big screen. So that part of their contract is fulfilled. Residuals are, if someone has a line, they get residuals. Jafar was a sweetheart. He was very kind. He was focused because he needed to do what he needed to do, but we were together for like 8 hours. It was just a few of us, and he was wonderful. He was wonderful. I've met some other Jacksons out here in LA, and it's crazy. But yeah, he was real. Please tell your son that I'm glad he asked, and Jafar was amazing. Yeah. I didn't realize that Michael Jackson had a close friendship with Tatum O'Neal, and she actually follows me and interacts a lot on Instagram, which is it's just weird. So Shambi, thank you. You gifted a membership. Thank you. That is very amazing. So did Gogo Margot. Thank you. You're amazing. Why I was asked by Michelle, why our black sons were getting pulled over. Again, it was because little like ridiculous things that our white sons did too, but didn't get pulled over for. A couple miles over the speed limit, things like that. Oh, and the antagonism of just if they would just be sitting there. It's stuff like you see on TV, and this Williamson County, Franklin, Tennessee, which was one of the wealthiest, like top 13 counties in the country. We contributed nothing to that. We were incredibly poor because, our financial plan was God will provide, which I don't recommend. So when they quote Charlie as saying, have more children than you can afford, I'm like, okay. Of course, it's kind of relative what you can afford. Like everybody needs socks, but it's a question if you're going to buy $1 socks or $40 socks, depending on your income. I don't know who would buy $40 socks, but maybe Jafar, if they were beaded. I'm so sorry. It is hard to read the names. I'm trying. Sir, thank you. Doug, will you ask her later to do a video about Amanda Knox doing stand-up comedy about her murder conviction? Why do I know the name Amanda Knox, but I can't picture her?
I think she's the nurse that was convicted overseas, murdering her roommates or something.
I will look into that. Doug, will you make a note of that? I will make a note too. Because, like Erica, I have control issues. Not to her extent. I told you I would share if there were things in common. Okay. Thank you, new members. I really appreciate that. When I scroll, it makes the message go away, and I don't like that. It looks to me, Doug.
Jeffrey McDowell's the last one.
And it says, I love your original thoughts. I strongly dislike fake. Doug, do you see the end of it? I strongly dislike fake. It cuts off for me. Fake fans. Fake. Oh, dislike fake. I love your original thoughts. I strongly dislike fakes, as do I. I promise you, I will keep it real. That is what I do. thinkhappystuff.com. That's our website. That's our gift company. It's my handwriting that was turned into a font. It's a flower doodle that my mom taught me, that her mom taught her. My mom is 84 years old. I don't know how that happened. I'm 57. I don't know how that happened. How old do you feel, Doug?
52.
52, really? I feel like I'm in my 40s, but my body, things are creaking and cracking and hurting. Okay, guys, thank you for being here. I don't have a fancy sign off. Somebody suggested that I say, and I will use it this time. Doug, how do I shut this down so I can say a sign off and then click? Otherwise, it's just awkward. Oh, you will? Okay. Somebody suggested this. Until next time, think happy stuff. Bye. Am I off? Did you do it? Come on.